My name is Hannah Velte, and this is my Dismantling Stereotypes presentation for Special Education 5030. In this presentation, I will be analyzing the movie Finding Dory. This is an animated children's movie and the sequel to Finding Nemo. Dory has been living with Marlin and Nemo for the past year, but starts to have memories about her childhood. Dory, Marlin, and Nemo set off to find Dory's parents, but shortly into their travels, Marlin and Nemo are separated from Dory. She is forced to fend for herself in the search for her family. She meets and reunites with friends along the way who help her find her parents. The characters all return home, where they presumably live happy lives. At the end of the film, Dory has gained some independence, though she is still looked after by fish in her community. The movie has a mediocre level of accuracy in portraying individuals with disability, as it highlights stereotypes and negative discourses. There are several disabilities highlighted in the movie. This presentation focuses on the emotional or behavioral disorders associated with the main character, Dory. The CCBD's definition states that emotional or behavioral disorders describes a disability that meets all four of the following criteria. 1. Identified by emotional or behavioral responses that differ from appropriate norms. Dory exhibits behaviors such as panic attacks and confusion, which impacts her ability to learn and socialize. 2. More than temporary. Dory's disorder appears to start at birth and continues throughout her life. 3. Consistently shown in 2 or more environments. Dory's behavior occurs in a variety of environments. 4. Unresponsive to general education interventions. While we don't see many formal educational interventions used in the movie, due to the nature of the storyline, some academic and instructional interventions like mnemonic devices are successfully used. For example, Just Keep Swimming and 2 Lefts and a Right help Dory find her way. Quay and Peterson developed the dimensions of problem behaviors in 1996. Some are not represented in Finding Dory, such as socialized aggression and psychotic behavior. However, attention problems and immaturity, as well as anxiety and withdrawal, are highlighted. These are traits that Dory exhibits in her internal dialogue and interactions with others. The movie meets the criteria for representing emotional or behavioral disabilities, but ideas are conveyed about disability that can be harmful. A primary plot structure is that Dory's disability is seen as a limitation, confining her to dependence on others. As Hayes and Black explain, the discourse of pity towards a character with a disability results in a paternalistic relationship of subordination. An example is found at the beginning of the story. Dory asks Marlin and Nemo to help her find her family. Marlin is reluctant to let Dory go on this adventure, as he and Dory both assume that she cannot complete this journey alone. Dory's reconciliation of confinement is seen consistently in the story, because even as she gains independence on her journey, she continues to search for additional parental caregivers. Even in the final scene of the movie, when Dory is simply looking for a moment of safe independence, we see Marlin doubting her ability and secretly watching her. Another point in the movie is Dory's separation from society. An example of attempted segregation is when Marlin explains to Dory, "Mr. Ray has too many fish to keep an eye on today, so it would be best if today you weren't exactly with the class." The idea is that Dory is too much of a liability to participate in a general education. As seen here, children and youth with emotional or behavioral disorders are more likely to be educated in segregated environments than students with other disabilities. This is even with the IDEA's clear sense of the least restrictive environment. When emotional or behavioral disorders can disrupt the classroom or pose safety risks, the segregation becomes more controversial. Another psychosocial stigma displayed in Finding Dory is that of the maladjusted disabled character. As described by Longmore, this trope shows a non-disabled character giving the disabled person tough love in order to help them become a well-adjusted adult. Examples of this are seen in the language Dory faces throughout the film. The movie accurately portrays some characteristics, but it also portrays harmful stereotypes. People without disabilities may recognize the hopeful, positive tone of the movie as a positive and therefore accurate portrayal of those with disabilities. This could cause problematic stereotypes to be further enforced. As a children's movie, this could teach children from an early age about pity, the success as a person with a disability, and more. My prior assumptions about individuals with emotional or behavioral disabilities were based on my work as a paraeducator in an effective needs school-based center. I believed that most emotional or behavioral disabilities were externalizing disorders, but Dory's experience and my subsequent investigation proved that internalizing disorders can be just as prevalent and just as troublesome. My experience with children with emotional or behavioral disabilities has also been prioritizing their assimilation into society. While the research highlights the importance of supporting students in building resilience, social skills, conflict resolution, and more, I believe it is so important for teachers to remember that a disability is not an illness to be cured. We offer special education services to support children in their educational growth, but we do not need to change who the person is. Finally, here are the references I used in my project.